Hi everyone, if you're new here, I'm Aude, a writer and filmmaker. I have published novels and short stories over the years in French and English. We arrived in Dublin on a rainy day, which makes complete sense. And as you can see, there were loads of turbulences on that flight. I wasn't even sure we'll make it out, but we did. After a couple of misadventure, we made it to our hotel that was absolutely gorgeous. It is based outside of Dublin. So here is our room tour, a very short one. So we got upgraded actually, which is always nice, to an executive suite. We had a balcony. We had that big, I think it was a king size bed. We also had a mini bar. I love mini bars. They're always so convenient. So every time I book a hotel, I always ask for one. And thankfully, they provided us with one. Because I've only lived in big cities, I am a bit surprised that transportation in Dublin really meant relying on coaches and the dot. Thankfully, we're on the dot and we had the sea view from outside of our train every day, which was amazing. In Dublin, first stop was the Library Project, which is a lovely bookstore at the center of Dublin. It was full of art books and obscure literary magazines that I've never heard of. A little bit too crowded, but very nice otherwise. We came back to our hotel that was even more gorgeous at night. Look at that, it looks like a castle, and there was a spa inside, and yes, I enjoyed it. The next day, we woke up early to go to Trinity College. It's one of the most famous attractions in Dublin, and we really wanted to see it, see the inside of the libraries, and if it was really worth the hype. So this room is the highlight of Trinity College. The globe inside is absolutely stunning, but it was packed. It was so packed that actually I was struggling to even take pictures. Overall, a very beautiful room, but just for one room, I don't know if it's worth the hefty price, to be fair. Still, very stunning room, but that's the only one that is really that beautiful. Nonetheless, being in a school campus reminded me of being a student and how much time and fun I had back in the days. You know I love donuts, so of course I have to try donuts everywhere I am. So I tried these vegan donuts and at the Rolling Donuts. It was nice. Then I went on a long stroll in Dublin just to see the city, and I was shocked by how similar it is to Edinburgh. So this is the Guinness building. Guinness is everywhere there. And that is the Irish flag. In case you don't know, I'm Ivorian. So our flag is actually similar to the Irish one, but I think that ours is better. On our way to the National Museum of Ireland, I made a new friend, a seagull. There's so many of them in Dublin. The museum was great. You learned so much about Irish history and its past and complicated relation with the country that colonized it. Personally, I wish they had explored as well as Ireland being complicit sometimes when it comes to Britain colonizing other countries and Irish soldiers joining British forces. But that's a whole other question, and that's a whole other topic. I'm a vegetarian, and I feel like I say that all the time, and I was disappointed by the food here. This soup is actually one of the best meals I've had because everything else was too greasy and not good enough. This is the Happy Bridge. It was crowded, but a beautiful bridge nonetheless. My goal was to explore as many bookstores as I could, so I went to Wine Stars. It's such a cute bookstore full of great gems, so I would definitely recommend that one. I had a great time. Then I went to a Marsh library, which surprisingly enough was almost empty, which was a relief because I found out that so far in Dublin, so many of the popular places were crowded, and I was surprised because this is the end of the year. Usually, not that many people would visit Dublin. So the library was really great. It had really that old school, very solemn kind of atmosphere that I really, really enjoy. Unfortunately, we couldn't really touch the books. I loved this little corner. I could only wish to be able to just sit there and read a book or do some research on my upcoming novels. And that school looks like it is in the best place ever. Would love to know the history behind it. It kicked off very quickly, so we went to the Irish Whiskey Museum for some entertainment. As you can see, it was Halloween themed. Very nice if you love whiskey. When we went there, I actually realized that I was not the biggest fan of whiskey, which is awkward when you're at the museum. But still, the whiskey we tasted, none of this were okay, I assume, but we learned a lot about the history of Irish whiskey and also the big rivalry with Scotland. And that's the whiskey we tasted. You can't be in Dublin and not go to the pub, no matter how much you feel about it. So we went to an overpriced pub in the center of Dublin. Very, very cute with that amazing selection of whiskey. But like I've told you, neither of us were actually whiskey drinkers. So we settled for other drinks. That's life. The next day we're back on the dot being the Dublin subway, the train that takes you pretty much everywhere. So there you get one train every 15 minutes, which is unheard of for someone like me who has only ever lived in big cities. But that's actually very good for Dublin, which was a surprise. This time we found ourselves in Hove, a very lovely town very close to Dublin, with stunning views of the sea and gorgeous cliffs. Now, I love hiking. Yes, I'm actually one of these people. And we didn't expect to hike, but that's pretty much what happened. So I was very much happy about it because the views were really gorgeous. And actually in Hove, I realized that the countryside in Ireland are probably the best part of the country. This was a very quick hike. After an hour, we finally reached the cliffs. It is very stunning. Now, mind you, I have a fear of heights. And yes, I still like hiking. Don't ask me why. It was worth it. I just tried not to look at, the sea because I felt like the sea was calling me, and it was best not to answer that call. Sometimes not all calls are meant to be answered. So yeah, really, really stunning. To another bookstore. This time we went to the Secret Book and Record Store. To be fair, Dublin is known as a literary capital, so it made sense to really enjoy it to its fullest. The Secret Book and Record Store is really good to find vintage and secondhand books and records and even cassettes, if you remember these, that you might not really find anywhere else. They have such a wonderful, collection of these kind of archives that are really hard to find. We decided to end the day at the Dublin Castle, which is where you learn more about the arts of Dublin, and visit some of these places where the presidents and prime minister of Ireland would spend time there. It was really, really beautiful. So apparently this room is where the presidents and used to be crowned, apparently. I mean, it looked very great. Like, I could even imagine people having, dance and having parties there. I would definitely like to. And it's time for another bookstore. This one, Book Upstairs. So I've been looking forward to this one because it has an amazing selection of books. There are many great ones, and I really liked it, but somehow I didn't really get anything, which was, I guess, a surprise. As we're getting very close to the end of our trip, we went on a trip to Cork, and I was really looking forward to it, and it was worth it. Cork definitely had been the highlight of my trip. It's a small city. You have to take the coach or sometimes the trains, depending on where you are. Cork, which is such a beautiful seaside town, my favorite town in Ireland so far. Reminded me a little bit of Normandy in France. And we went there for the Titanic experience. And Although I believe that there's an element of creepiness when it comes to that fascination towards all these people that died in that tragic accident, it was still an enjoyable, experience, and we learned a lot about Titanic, the people who survived, what happened, and I even learned that there's a woman that survived the Titanic and then went on to survive two other boat accidents. This is some kind of magical luck. I can only hope to be like her. Overall, I'd say I'm glad I went to Ireland because that's one of the very few countries in Europe that I haven't visited yet. So, yeah, it was an okay trip. The food wasn't great, to be fair. It was a bummer. The vegan food was greasy or not really tasty. The only good vegan food I had was actually from a chain, and usually I try to avoid chains when I am abroad. But overall, yes, that was an okay trip. One thing I really did enjoy as a sucker for literature and as a writer myself is that lovely poem that I discovered in Dublin airport. So I leave you with that. And that's the end of my Dublin adventure. I cannot wait to see where I will travel next in 2024. Feel free to like and subscribe to my channel for more writing and filmmaking related videos. If you want to support my small business and my work, look at my website as well as my books available on most stores. Thanks for today. Goodbye.